right, everybody, welcome back to the Rock and Roll Rebel Show, and I'm your man, Thunder Dan, and it is 100% wild out here. It is wild out here. I don't know where to start. So we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna keep it nice. You know what I'm saying? It's 100% crazy, 100% full blown crazy out here. You got people lighting themselves on fire in front of the Embassy Hotel. You got CIA bases in Ukraine on the front lines of Russia. You got Victoria Nuland out there talking about we need this money so we can send it back to America. So we send the money to Ukraine and it comes back here. But the biggest news of it all is Donald Trump won South Carolina and they're going wild. I guess it's more wild than his sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Shane Gillis was on Saturday Night Live. I think he murdered it out there. He was funny. And Trump's out here just destroying them all. They're trying to go after him so hard. Of course, you had the Fannie Willis and the Wade guy. They got the text messages from him. They've been hanging out a long time. So it's just one big ploy to destroy Donald Trump. Donald Trump Jr. out there supposedly got some white powder sent to his house. The hazmat team was out there. So, I mean, it's just wild. It's just wild, wild, wild. So you got to make sure you protect yourselves at all times, at all times. I mean, that's the only thing I can tell you. You got to prepare. I don't know. And then, of course, you also have Ron DeSantis, signed the 2006 stuff for Jeffrey Epstein to come out. I mean, it's so much going on. There's just so much going on. I think they're flooding the news on purpose. So we don't know what's going on. That's the only thing I can think of. They just want to flood the news so you don't pay attention to nothing. So we're going to try to break it all down. Like I said, we don't want to take up too much of your precious time. Because here at the Rock and Roll Rebel Show, we just going to give you that real news and not that fake news. You know what I'm saying? Like and sub up, baby. Like and sub up so we can spread the word. We're everywhere. Rock and Roll Rebel Show is everywhere. Rock and Roll Rebel is everywhere. You can find me on PlayStation 5 playing the 40 night. You can find me on TikTok at the Rock and Roll Rebel Show. You can find me on Twitter at Rock and Roll Rebel. So I'm everywhere, baby. I'm trying to spread the word, trying to spread the news. Because if we do not, I mean, America's in trouble. You saw what the migrant did to the precious sweetheart of a lady in Georgia. So it's not safe out there for Americans. They're choosing migrants, illegal aliens, over American citizens. They're giving them their money. So we got to stand up. We got to stand up and come together as one. Black, white, green. I don't care what you are. If you're an American and you respect the laws and you do unto others as you want them to do unto you, then you can rock with me all day long. You know what I'm saying? We'll crack one open. We'll roll something up. I don't care. But we're out here having fun, trying to spread the news, and we're trying to get rid of the elites. Today, Jacob Rothschild passed away at 87. The Rothschilds are the king of the Federal Reserve. They own all the banks. A lot of people say they control all the money. If you ever watched the movie Eyes Wide Shut, that's basically about the Rothschilds. They had some party back in 1972 that was just like that. And it's good versus evil. I mean, I hate to break it down to you, but the Satan people are out there and they're trying to destroy us. They're trying to 100% destroy everything that we're about. And we're not going to stop. I'm going to keep on spreading the news. The only reason I started this channel was to spread the news and to bring God back and to bring back America, make America great again. Without that, then we're nothing. Then we're all gonna be like they are over in the Middle East and everywhere else, under total control, and we're gonna die like cattle, I guess. But let's jump this off. How this mainstream media out here, how they reacted to Trump winning in South Carolina. Trump destroyed it. He got like 60% of the vote. And they're trying to say that it wasn't good enough because Nikki Haley got like 38%. Are they crazy? In South Carolina, anybody can vote. As long as you didn't vote in the Democratic primary in South Carolina, you could still vote in the Republican primary, which I voted on Saturday in person. The lines were long. The machines did go down. They did go down, but they said they rebooted them. So I was there with me and one of my children went along. So I said, I'm going to go vote. He said, I won't come vote. So I said, let's go vote. Let's go vote for Donald J. Trump. And let's light this place up on fire. You know what I'm saying? So we went there, and I could see in the audience that there were some Democrats there. You can spot a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? My radar went off. And so I did see a couple of them. We didn't try to engage too much. You know what I'm saying? But we was in red, and we were decked out as proud patriots, because that's what we do around here. That's what we do around here. And we always protect ourselves at all times, because it's a jungle out there. But let's play how the mainstream media reacted to this, because I thought this was wild. They're trying to say Donald Trump didn't do good. But we know he did good, and we're going to play this right here.
37% who voted Haley, who would they vote for in a general election? Lawrence needs to wait. I mean, this is like your sweet spot. How is Joe Biden looking at this 37%?
These numbers are disastrous for Donald Trump. Disastrous, okay? That's the reason I mentioned that the big forgotten number of South Carolina, which is Joe Biden getting 96%, okay? That's what you're supposed to get, all right? And Donald Trump's not going to come close to that. Donald Trump's going to leave 30%, I don't know, 25%, whatever it is. Of
37%.
Not yet. We don't know. We don't know what the result of this election is tonight, but it's going to be a very substantial number. Could be a third of the vote. He's going to leave that on the table, belonging to another candidate. All you need is 5% of the 30%. Yeah. We're talking about a sliver. Yeah. That's all you need to not vote for Donald Trump. Of this representative kind of voter in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Georgia. And so these are disastrous voting results for Donald Trump in the general election. Well, not South Carolina. He's going to win South Carolina. But that voter in the Haley vote package is represented in New Hampshire, is represented in these other states, and is represented in all the other swing states. Wisconsin, you need a tiny slice of them.
I don't know if you could be any more delusional. I really don't. I don't know if you could be any more delusional than mainstream media right now. The mainstream media is 100% delusional. They don't know what's going on. I was shocked to see that the New York Times put out that report today about the 12 CIA bases in Ukraine. Now, Ukraine is the jump point for all the corruption in the United States right now, it looks like to me. The Steele dossier came out of Ukraine. You had Alexander Vindman was out of Ukraine. The United States is defending Ukraine like I've never seen before, like Russia the bad guy. And I get it, Putin does this and Putin does that, but what has Putin ever did to an American? I mean, I know there's Americans that are technically locked up right now, but in general, since the 80s and all that, where you had the Cold War, I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, so they want to say it's election interference and all this. They want to say the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. We're being lied to. And that's all you got to know is you're being lied to. If you just look around, you're like, huh? None of this makes any sense. But they want to try to make it make sense. So the Mockingbird media pushes Russia, 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 PP tapes, all this. But Ukraine is the real evil. Ukraine's got the biolabs. The CIA overthrew the election in Ukraine and put in Zelensky. You had Joe Biden, quid pro Joe, firing the prosecutor along with John Kerry. It's all money laundering. Ukraine is buying arms from the United States. They're sending that money back here to the United States from the taxpayers, and then they probably donate to politicians or think tanks. We're not seeing none of this money. Why are we paying for war? We want to pay for peace. We don't want to pay for war. We don't want people dying. The same thing that Israel's doing to the Palestinian people. They're turning everything into rubble. We don't stand for that. And that's why this brainwashed, I don't understand this whole thing, why you would light yourself on fire for a protest. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And they're turning this guy into like some type of hero. He's not a hero. This guy was an idiot. I can think of 1,000 other ways to protest than light myself on fire with I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The U.S. military, he was a reserve or something, but they better screen themselves better for mental disorders because that guy was an idiot. And I guess he's going to deal with whatever he had to deal with. And he was a young man, too. He's like 24, 25 years old. But let's get into the whole CIA bases. I mean, the New York Times put it out that there's 12 CIA bases in there on the border of Russia. They're running all the intelligence. So, you know, whenever the United States is somewhere, the agencies are there. So the Central Intelligence Agency is in there. And then I got this little thing. I mean, it's a little long, but it's not too long. But we'll pop this off, and this will educate you a lot more than what I can, because you know what I'm saying?
Look at this dumb motherfucker.
But let's play this right here and see what they got to say. I'll hold on as long as I can. You know what I'm saying?
The story from Zero Hedge is covering a story from the New York Times. The headline is this: CIA built 12 secret spy bases in Ukraine and waged shadow war for the last decade, bombshell New York Times report confirms. On Sunday, the New York Times published an explosive and very belated full admission that U.S. intelligence has not only been instrumental in Ukraine wartime decision-making, but has established and financed high-tech command and control spy centers, and was doing so long prior to the February 24th, 2022 Russian invasion. Among the biggest revelations is that the program was established a decade ago and spans 3 different American presidents. Let's see, a decade ago. It's February 2024 now. A decade ago would be February 2014, which would be exactly the time that the Maidan massacre happened. Well, what do you know about that? What do you know about that? It turns out it corresponds exactly with the coup in Ukraine and the ensuing civil war against the regions that weren't going along with the CIA-backed color revolution in Ukraine. Just incredible. The story from New York Times is called The Spy War, How the USA Secretly Helps Ukraine Fight Putin. And again, the Zero Hedge article mentions why they might be coming out with this here in just a second. I'll continue. The Times says the CIA program to modernize Ukraine's intelligence services has, quote, transformed the former Soviet Union, Soviet state, and its capabilities into Washington's most important intelligence partner against Kremlin today. This has included the agency having secretly trained and equipped Ukrainian intelligence officers spanning back to just after, or before perhaps, the 2014 Maidan coup events, as well as constructing a network of 12 secret bases along this Russian border, work which began 8 years ago. These intelligence bases, from which Russian commanders' communications can be swept up and Russian spy satellites monitored, are being used to launch and track cross-border drone and missile attacks into Russian territory. Quote, without them, the CIA and elite commandos it's trained, there would have been no way for us to resist the Russians or to beat them, said Ivan Bakanov, former head of the SBU, which is Ukraine's domestic intelligence agency. Clearly, Kiev and Washington now want the world to know of the deep intelligence relationship they tried to conceal for over the past decade. It's perhaps a kind of warning to Moscow. At a moment Ukraine's forces are in retreat, a warning to Moscow saying the U.S. is fighting hand in glove with the Ukrainians. And yet the revelations contained in the New York Times report also confirmed what President Putin has precisely accused Washington of all along. Yes, Putin was right. InfoWars was right. This is, in fact, a war entirely a creation of the American spy state, as well as those that control it, like George Soros, who poured millions of dollars into Ukraine to fund liberalization institutes, or whatever you want to call it, open society foundation programs, which were, of course, just intelligence cover for carrying out a regime change operation in Ukraine, a highly successful one, I might add, as despite the fact that, again, everybody knew who was behind it from the very beginning, nothing was done about it, and the problem was instead allowed to grow and fester and rot over 10 years until it finally exploded in February of 2022, when Russia decided to put its foot down.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next. Infowars.com/show.
In 60 seconds, I don't have time to tell you about all the incredible ingredients in TurboForce. But if you simply go to InfoWarsStore.com and look at the list of ingredients and look them up, every one of them is known to give you boosted, clean, focused energy without the letdown. We're talking up to 10 hours of clean energy per serving with turbo.
Oh my, I didn't know all that was there. We're gonna so get flagged. So gonna get flagged. Oh, bruh. Got up for a second to do something real quick, and there you go. There you go. But I mean, you can see the whole thing was infiltrated. It's all one big plan. I mean, I thought the CIA was to make sure stuff didn't happen to Americans from abroad, to keep us safe here in our 50 beautiful states. But apparently they're into overthrowing governments, changing stuff here and there. None of it makes sense. I mean, I guess the Twin Towers did fall, so they didn't do a good job there. So here we are as Americans wondering what the hell is going on. And then, of course, you got Victoria Nuland. She's out here. She's an evil spirit, I guess they would say also. That she wants to send all this money to Ukraine. I guess some country in Europe just sent them $50 billion because we're not sending them here. Mike Johnson is holding strong, saying the government might shut down. Also, Michigan tomorrow night is going to have a vote. And I guess there's a movement to put nobody on the ballot and try to get Joe Biden a little shaken up, I guess, if he doesn't win in Michigan. So, and then, of course, you had Gavin Newsom out there on the news this weekend, too. They're wondering why he's not running. They want to save the Democrats somehow. But I think the evil parties are going away. We're bringing truth to light. That's the only thing you can do is you got to put the truth out there and let the people absorb it. You know what I'm saying? It's like a sponge, and a slow little drip will get that sponge soaking wet, and the mind will open up. But here's Victoria Nuland out here. She was on the news talking about why money is so important to go to Ukraine, which I don't understand how Ukraine can have all this pull. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that they have all this pull. So we're going to pull this up. We got to fix all this. And I just don't understand how she can have all this pool. I mean, they said there was biolabs over there, remember? And then all the chemicals, and then we're just being overrun by bad people. So let's let this play. I'm still shocked that the stuff got there. I'm not gonna get up this time, okay?
It is, and I do hear you and the others in the administration and supporters talking about the vital necessity to do this. But as people say, hope is not a strategy. And do you have any actual belief or reason to believe that eventually this bill will be paid? And if not, how are you going to make sure Ukraine gets vital weapons and ammunition?
Christiane, I have strong confidence that when the House comes back, after they've been out in their districts, hearing from the American people, after they have heard from Ukraine, they have heard from Europe, which, by the way, just passed $54 billion in additional aid itself, that we will do what we have always done, which is defend democracy and freedom around the world, not just for victims of tyrants like Putin, but in our own interest in preserving a free and open international order. That's what we need to do. We've done it before. And by the way, we have to remember that the bulk of this money is going right back into the U.S. economy to make those weapons, including good-paying jobs in some 40 states across the United States.
Yeah, see, all that money is a kickback. It all comes back. It all comes back. So I don't know. As an American, you got to get out and vote. That's the only thing that's going to keep us out of this mess. Get out and vote. Protect yourselves at all times. And remember, it's peace and love here, baby. It's peace and love. I wanted to get into some other stuff, but I think this video is going to go down unless I edit it, but we can't edit it because we're live. But it's peace and love, baby. It's peace and love. Protect yourselves at all times. God bless you all. Hey, I'll see you all tomorrow, baby. We'll be right back at it.